Hi all, this is Harsh. Today we are going to cover the topic Indian Contract Act 1872, its introduction and what is covered under Section 1. So Indian Contract Act 1872, its preamble says where it is expedite to define and amend certain parts of the law relating to contracts, it is hereby enacted as follows. Preliminary short title covers. This act may be called the Indian Contract Act 1872. Its extent and commencement says it extends to the whole of India and it shall come into force on the first day of September 1872. Its savings cover nothing herein contained shall affect the provisions of any statute, act, or regulation not hereby expressly repealed, nor any uses or custom of trade, nor any instant of any contract not inconsistent with the provisions of this Act. Law of contract is the most important and basic part of mercantile law. It is the foundation for many other laws falling in the category of mercantile laws. It is not only the mercantile or trader, but every person who lives in the organized society consciously or unconsciously enters into contract from sunrise to sunset. When a person hires a taxi or orders something in a hotel or buys something from a shop, purchases a newspaper, rides a bus, etc., he actually enters into and performs contract, though he may be unaware of this fact. Such contracts at times create legal relations, giving rise to certain rights and obligations. The law relating to contracts in India is contained in Indian Contract Act 1872. The Act came into force with effect from September 1st, 1872. It is applicable to the whole of India as per Section 1. Scheme of the Act. The scheme can be divided into two main groups. The Act, as enacted originally, had 266 sections divided into following groups. Provisions. Sections. General principles of law of contract are covered under Section 1 to Section 75. Contract relating to contract of sales of goods covered under Section 76 to Section 124. Special kinds of contracts, for example, indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge, and agency, are covered under Section 125 to Section 238. Contracts relating to partnership covered under Section 239 to Section 266. These sections were repealed from the Contract Act 1872 and two new acts were enacted for the same. They are Sales of Goods Act 1930 and Partnership Act 1932. Present form of Indian Contract Act covers Law of contract basically relates to the essentials of a valid contract. The law for performance and discharge of a contract and the remedies available to the aggrieved party in cases of the breach of the contract. The Indian Contract Act, in its present form, may be divided into two parts. The first part of the enactment, that is, Section 1 to 75, deals with the general principles of the law of contract, which applies to all types of contracts irrespective of their nature. The second part, that is Section 124 to 238, deals with special types of contracts, namely indemnity and guarantee, bailment and pledge, agency, etc. Enforcement of Act. The Indian Contract Act was passed in 1872 and came into force from 1st September 1872. Prior to this, English law of contract was followed in India. Law of contract creates jus in personam and not jus in rem. It extends to whole of India. Objective of the Act. The objective of the Contract Act 1872 is to ensure that the rights and obligations arising out of a contract are honored and the legal remedies are made available to an aggrieved party against the party failing to honor his part of agreement. Act lays down the basic principles of the formation, performance, and enforceability of contracts. Although law of contract is not the whole law of agreements or that of obligations. Thank you.